welcome everyone. We got Hamza, Rachel, Brian, Chidi? Am I saying that right? Sorry, I'm not. And Amanda Ray, which I believe is Martin. Thank you guys for tuning in. My name is Anthony, one of the founders here at Vibe Hive, and I wanted to introduce our host for tonight's community conversation. He'll be leading the discussion as we go forth and prosper into today's conversation. And, just out here being a goof, let me do one more thing really quick. Let me do that. There we go. So that Brian can share his screen. And without further ado, I'm going to pass it to our dear friend, Brian Rolfe. Brian, take the reins.
What's up, y'all? Appreciate you guys allowing me to jump on board with you and to participate in a new way and at a new level. It's been an awesome journey thus far, and I'm excited to see where we collectively are able to bring this going into this new year of 2021 and beyond. So for those who don't know, I've known Rachel and Anthony since, forever, give or take. It's been so many years, I can't even keep track anymore, but it's been great. And what they've been doing, they invited me to tag along, and so here we are. And we just went through that video with Simon Sinek, who, if you don't know who that guy is, spend some time and look him up and get into his stuff. He's super awesome. He's got an amazing content, a lot of great books, just a really cool dude. His perspective about things is really great from a leadership perspective. So definitely worth your time. But yeah, we're going to talk through that video, which was 5 rules to follow as you find your spark, right? And all of us have a spark. We have a unique fingerprint, a gift, or X factor, or mojo that in some way, shape, or form we're bringing to the world. And so I like how he kind of talks about just things to be aware of and to be mindful of as we do that. And so we're just going to kind of have a collective conversation about some of the points he brought up. And so we're just going to jump right on into this good stuff. And we got Melissa joining us. Awesome. So the first one he was talking about, right, in the process of finding our spark and bringing it to the world is going after the things you want. And he mentioned, and this was something that I really liked, because I know for me in the past, I've kind of let the blinders get on with my single focus. And he says you can do it your own way as long as you don't get in the way of others getting what they want, right? So as long as it's kind of we're not hurting or stopping or blocking others from getting what they want as they're on their own unique journey, right? Just like we are in our process. So I was kind of curious, because I know for me what this can look like and what it has looked like in the past. But for you all, when he says do it your own way, what does that look like for you? Maybe what does that sound like? What does that feel like? How does that show up for you? If anybody wants to chime in.
Okay, I'll go. So for me, as a musician, and what I do is surprisingly simple, is kind of the very much the go at your own way mentality. Surprisingly simple kind of started because I wanted to do concert lighting, and then I realized that, I could do concert lighting for someone else's music, or I grew up playing piano, let me figure out how to make my own music. And so then I was like, well, I don't know how to produce music. So I was like, well, to the internet we go. And 10 years later, here we are. We've created this sort of thing where it's like I and we are doing something that really no one else, especially at the level that we're at, as far as maybe attendance or fandom or whatever you'd want to call it, or community size or whatever, no one else is bringing along this $30,000 production into every room that they go that just blows the place up, and just and it's something that I've been really passionate about. And so it's definitely extra work, and Rachel can attest to that, how many times she's picked those speakers up and loaded in and out, being like, why are we doing this, but kind of, it's just, to me, always been the vision of what I wanted to do with the music and the light show and stuff was worth the effort. And that was something that most people would definitely not do. Most musicians, they, make it to where they have a big audience, and they're like, oh shoot, we better provide a better experience for those people. Whereas I decided that I wanted to provide that really high level experience from the very get-go, because it's just something that I was passionate about, and I knew that it would create more like long-term, like lifelong fans for every time we go in, because it would be really a really impactful experience. So it's like a kind of a cool thing, I guess, to answer your question.
For sure. Anybody else want to chime in? I know a couple of people in here have their own unique journeys that they've been working through. Amanda, if you can introduce yourself also and where you're tuning in from, that'd be super awesome. But go ahead, Amanda, or Martin, or whoever is under that tag.
Hi, it's Martin. I'm actually in the vehicle. I'm in Atlanta, or driving out of Atlanta, just about for the next couple of days to relax. But this video, and I did take time to look at his other videos, really connected with me as a business owner and entrepreneur and artist. It made me think about why I started my company to begin with. I was unsatisfied with, I guess, the level of quality and intention that were being put into other products, and I wanted to do it my way. And I also get asked why I don't, do this marketing thing, do this, do that, have this, one of that. And it's really because I want to do things in a old-fashioned, maybe more intuitive way that is walking my own path rather than the pursuit of like financial gain, because I know that financial gain will come from what I do. And so it really reinvigorated me that I was on the right path, and that again, as long as I don't deny anyone else what they want, I can have what I want.
Very cool. Yeah, being able to provide things in your own unique way at a standard that you can maintain and hold for yourself, and what you're doing is really cool. Rachel has her hand raised. If you want to go next, Rachel.
Yes. Hi, everyone. Rachel in Atlanta, Georgia. And well, first off, Martin, I love what you said regarding that this video helped bring you back, reminding you of why you're doing what you're doing. Because first off, I love Roseman's Remedies. That's a shout out to his company. They're awesome. And it reminds me of my introduction to Simon Sinek, which was his book, Start With Why. So Martin, if you have never, he has a talk on it as well. That's, a quicker, more digestible thing than the book. So check out Start With Why. I saw you unmute. Have you heard it?
I watched this video on Why Start With Why like this morning, and like honestly, listening to him last night made me cry when I went home to reflect on myself as a leader. And I woke up and listened to more of them, and it reinvigorated me for my day, because I was so kind of like, so it was really beautiful, and it realigned my focus to what I love and what was my why, and then I actually took time to write it on my dry erase board.
I love it. Well, cool. Well, to answer your original question, Brian, about like what does my process look like, that's a wild one. It kind of looks like here we are, and then it's like woo, and then we get over here. So what I'm personally working on, which again is part of my process, is giving myself grace for just the fact that I have my own process is a thing of beauty. And it doesn't have to look like anything else. Yeah, it doesn't have to look like anything else I've seen. And just this constant reminding myself to love the how to or supposed to be voice in my head, but quiet her. Because there truly, no one has ever been me, and no one has ever walked the path I'm walking. So that has kind of been my personal process, and something I heard just yesterday. Actually, I did a animal reading with my kitty cat and an animal communicator, And the message that my cat had for me was to always to take multiple moments in my day and pause and see if I am resonating in the frequency of joy. And so that's what I'm actually going to add to my process moving forward is if I'm in the middle of something and I begin to feel that spiraling out of control, like some spirals are fun, some are not. And if I begin to feel the not fun spiral, to just pause and say, am I in joy? Am I in play? And if I'm not, drop it. So perhaps that's more of an answer of like, what's my process going to look like moving forward? Yeah, because actually this that I drew, that's joyful for me. I love to have lots going on and movement. So it's okay. And then I also see the benefits of some structure and focus to my journey. So that's my answer.
Awesome. Yeah. Enjoy the process. Have fun with it for sure. I think that gets forgotten a lot. I know I have. Anybody else want to share what doing it your own way means to you or what that looks like right now and how that's working out? Let's do it,
Yeah.
Hamza.
So, yeah, talk about, following a completely different drum. Yeah, that has been my life since I was a kid. I mean, to the point where my family, we used to actually make clothes, and we'd go to the fabric store and I would pick out like some of the most audacious stuff that hindsight I look at and I'm like, what? You let me leave the house wearing this? And the answer was, you were excited about it. So, I mean, that from a young age, I've been living in that aspect. And, I went down the path of going for an undergrad degree and doing something, I guess mainstream. And I think it was junior year, one of my classmates, he looked at me and he said, you know what, you'd make a good consultant. I don't see you sitting in an office at all. And I didn't really understand it at the time, but then give it a year and a half. And that's exactly what I fell into, because I felt so out of place trying to follow the norm. Turned down a couple job offers and just kept going on my own path as an independent design contractor. And, now, I mean, I'm a coach, I'm a fireman. I wear all these different hats, and it's because that's just what lights me up. I enjoy being able to be a rescuer and then turn around and, just build stuff, whether it's network design or we're getting into, mechanical components. I just get to kind of be like a kid with a giant erector set. And that's my life.
Very cool. I hope I'm saying this right, but Chidi or Shadi, if you want to go, I think you were trying to chime in as well.
Hey, yeah. Thanks for noticing. And it is, you got it right the first time. It's pronounced Chidi. I've actually been told there's a TV show called The Good Place, and apparently there's a character called Chidi. So I usually just refer to that if people ever have issues with it. My first name is actually James, so full name James Chidi Okolo. I'm here through Martin. He let me know that he was engaging with some pretty cool people, and I've been trying to reconnect with different communities in and around Atlanta, not just to stay more engaged with the current state of affairs, but just also for myself. I've realized that I'm someone that, even though I feel like it's me against the world, and whether it's by the way I think or just my work ethic, I really realized I get a lot of joy in pushing myself to actually communicate with others and listen to other people and hear their experiences and have an opportunity to share my experience. So thank you, Martin, for letting me know this was going on. And hello again, everyone. My name is Chidi. I currently live in Snellville, Georgia. I'm in between Snellville and Atlanta pretty often. About 3 years ago, I started a company with a good friend of mine, and we were a couple of ambitious high school students who wanted to help people achieve their goals. So we thought it'd be pretty cool to create an app that paid people, gave them incentives to achieve their goals. And ever since then, I've been really trying to figure out, how to incorporate like business strategies and an actual business perspective when it comes to bringing an idea to the market. So I went to Georgia State for entrepreneurship to learn a bit more about what it takes to build a company. And now I'm starting to get back into testing different platforms that people can give me feedback on and iterate, make changes, so on and so forth. So me relentlessly pursuing my passions has what, to answer the question, that's what it's looked like for me. So whether that's trying to build a business or realizing that, to build a business, you need to be able to, especially a business that's centered around helping people achieve their goals, you need to feel like you're achieving your own goals. So regardless of how ambitious it is, just being able to, be that image for yourself and for others, to be able to say, wow, even though, he's gone 3 years without having an app that people use, or he's gone 3 years and he's still a failure of entrepreneur, or he's now trying to make music and no one's listening to his music, whatever the case may be, just putting out your creations and, letting the right people come to you as a result. So for me, it's looked like get back with developing apps that people can test, making music, into more community of reading. I've known when that feels like I need to know about whatever I'm trying to achieve. So if I'm coming from like a place where I feel like I'm lacking knowledge, I'll be giving myself like a false start as far as whatever I'm trying to achieve. So I've been doing a lot more reading and also focusing more on my health. So eating properly and trying to stay mindful throughout the moments of my day. Trying to work for the future, but I'm now starting to realize that, you got to live life while you can. So.
That's awesome, man. I appreciate you jumping on and happy to have you on board. And the more the merrier when it comes to, these kinds of talks and conversations. And Anthony even posted it. I like that standout phrase, relentlessly pursuing your passion, is super spot on. I really like that verbiage. And taking the time to honor yourself. There's just something that some of us have heard, I'm sure, maybe some others have not, but it's like honor yourself first or all else is lost. So having just that realization that I have to take care of me so I can show up is super, super powerful. So I appreciate that. Martin, you've got your hand raised if you want to go.
Yeah, one thing that Kitty did not mention was his latest pursuit is that of creating an app designed specifically for some community. And that's honestly one of the reasons I thought it would be cool for him to be a part of this conversation and see how others can fit their own sense of community, especially right now, digitally as is important with COVID and everything else going on. And so if you guys have any feedback for him and or like encouragement, I definitely would throw it his way.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, for sure. I mean, that's what this is all about is, the rising tide lifts all the ships. So collectively, we're able to help each other and work with each other. So absolutely. All right. Did anybody, go ahead.
Let me jump in real quick. Martin, if you're on Bluetooth or something, before you share next time, can you bring the phone closer to you or something so that we can hear you a little better? I think you cut out quite a bit on that last one. So just want to make sure that we're hearing what you're saying.
I think I met a bit of what he was trying to say. I think he might have been talking me up a little bit. So I appreciate that, Martin. But I mentioned briefly that I've been trying to work on apps. Is really focusing and people, community leaders engage with members of the community that are striving for goal achievement in certain areas of their life.
Cool.
Awesome, man.
And yeah, to focus more on the aspect. So that's cool. There. I'll go ahead and put the link in the chat and does want to sign up.
Yeah, for sure. And anybody else have anything, Melissa or Janisha, before we jump to the next point? Go ahead, Melissa. If you want to unmute yourself, or I can unmute you if you prefer.
I think I'm good. You guys hear me okay? This is cool. I'm enjoying this. Thanks for the invite, Rachel. I appreciate it. go for what you want. So I love the story that he shares with that. And so I'm recognizing that there's been so many times in my life that I just go for what I want. And I am the girl who reaches through and grabs the bagel instead of standing in the line and waiting for the process. And that's just kind of how my life goes. And I'm at a stage in life where I've done the corporate thing, I've done the entrepreneurship, and now what it's really about is creating this new expression of being the essence of who I am and who I've always been, which is the inspiring partner. And that's a title that's just kind of not really out there. And based on the things that I do, I'm having to create something that's completely out of the norm. So, some people would want to put me in the bucket of a coach. Some people would want to put me in the bucket of a healer or a minister. And what I'm having to do is really go for what I want, which is to be that inspiring partner and to show up for people every day. So it's kind of a different way to look at things, and it's out of the norm, very much 2020, very much 2021. And so we're kind of just seeing, I think, really a turn of where people are going into their heart space, going back to their childhood and rerouting exactly who they're supposed to be and letting that come forward. So for me, it's really somewhat out of the box. And I love to be in the company of out of the boxers. So thanks so much.
Love that. And I very much appreciate where you come from, whereas other people maybe from their point of view, putting certain labels or titles on what you're doing or what they see you as, you're still recognizing for you who you really are in that process. So that's super cool.
And it's
awesome.
An evolution. So
yeah,
for sure.
Absolutely. Yeah. Never ending progress. Yeah, for sure. So we're going to jump over to the next one. And when he first started telling this story, I didn't know like where he was going with it because it got a little dark real quick, talking about child death and whatnot. But it ended up being, the point was like, sometimes you're the problem, right? Sometimes you're getting in your own way or you're the cause of your own failures. But being able to recognize that and take accountability for both the good, like all the successes and all the victories and all the great peak life experiences, but then also recognizing that what often gets us there is those obstacles, those stumbles, those falls, those failures. And when you're taking credit, right, you have to be accountable for both. So one thing that I know for me, I personally struggled with in the past was owning both sides of that, and feeling, especially when it came to like the successes, was recognizing that I actually did that and being cool with it. So I was curious for you all, is at this point in kind of your journeys, such as they are, it's when things go right and when things go wrong, right? Because they both show up. Is how do you own that? Like when that shows up for you, like what's your process of accountability? Do you even take accountability for both, or do you sometimes find yourself just getting stuck on one or the other? Whoever wants to go. You'll get their thinking faces on.
I can jump in. So I think one of the big kind of awakening moments for me is, I've known, but like recently I've known and acted on it, which has made a huge difference, is that, when we are like, as a music maker, like I am the business. Like there's no other, there's like no other, I don't have a boss. Like the boss is me. Like I'm the boss, I'm the worker, I'm the creator, I'm the marketer, I'm the this and the that and all those things, And so, it's been interesting to see, because I do have that corporate background, it's been interesting to see how when I left corporate, I left all the good parts about what corporate lifestyle and my background in engineering and stuff did for me, which was help me create structure, give me a place that I can succeed in by allowing the space, like creating the space as in the work day to accomplish things, And so now that, kind of for the first time since I left corporate America, I'm actually treating my music business as a business and spending hours a day tackling things, and then bringing in those, like, the scheduling component that I fought for so long when I left corporate, because I was like, I'm free, I can do whatever I want. But like, it ended up actually slowing me down, because every day I'd have to make the decision of what was I going to do that day. Versus in corporate America, when I had the schedule, I could just like look at my schedule and know I have this meeting, and I have this meeting, and this meeting, and then this deadline, and this, you know what I mean? So, I think that a lot of the success that I want to see, like, I know that the success that I want to see that I at this point am not seeing, is directly related to my not implementing the best parts of what I, or who I was in the corporate space. And so that was kind of like a big realization and a big accountability moment, where it's like, oh, yeah, dude, you just got to do the work, like, there's no getting around it. So it's like, and then when I do the work and then like make that post or like work on that new track, it just feels so good. It just feels so much better to like do what I know is good for me. So, that's kind of my accountability / like reward scenario. That's kind of what it makes me think of.
Awesome. Very much relatable. Yeah. Anytime you're in business for yourself, when you're everything that pertains to managing that business, it's very easy to sometimes fall into that trap of, oh, I get to choose what I want to do today. And then you don't choose anything, and then nothing happens. So been there, done that. And it's, same thing, kind of bit me in the butt a little bit, but being able to recognize that and own up to it and just be like, okay, lesson learned. Now we can move forward in a much better position. Martin, go ahead.
Yeah, like I said, all of the 5 rules really connected with me, and this one connected with me in a way that. Oh, did I lose service? I just lost service. Damn.
But you're still good with us as of right now, at least.
Hello. Okay. So, in this particular question, I really felt it because I lead a team full of people. A person who leads, you lead by example. And I also like a little bit of discipline, but New Year's resolution, but something that I set for myself this year was to maintain discipline. And for me, that will directly affect those around me. And so getting my employees to do certain jobs, to have that belief in the company and like our mission and goal stems from me as well. I mean, like, it's either the business also being in my last name makes it even like more difficult to deny that fact. And so I forth the motion of me putting in more work into showing up on time and being a little bit more not, I want to say stringent or strict or rigid, but just being more disciplined about my time management and so forth to help others also do the same. And so I really liked the fact that I could keep myself accountable. And another thing was, sometimes my friends end up looking up to me, and that can be like a double-edged sword, because they're like, oh, you're managing everything so well, because I do a lot. But that's not necessarily an excuse for them to kind of accept certain flaws that I don't agree with and wouldn't agree with myself. And so having the ability to look at myself objectively is extremely important, to say, hey, hold yourself more accountable. They say if you get upset with other people for doing certain things, then it's usually because you also do them. And so I really like that one.
Absolutely. And especially what I really appreciate what you said is, as a business owner, is being accountable for the entire business from top to bottom, front to back. because you, as that leader, set the example, you set the standard, you set the tone for the entire team. So that's awesome. Rachel.
Hi. So, well, I love that this is coming up because one of my dear friends, Kelsey Falconer, who I'm going to, she asked this question on her Instagram stories like just 2 days ago. I'm going to drop her Instagram handle just because I like giving people shout outs, and she is worth following. I love her stuff. But the first word that came to mind when I saw that question, what does accountability mean to you? For me, it means community. And part of that is just because I know myself and I thrive off of connecting with other people, helping others connect to who they like. Even if I don't ever see someone again or keep that connection, I am a connector. And so that right there is what helps me thrive, because if someone else is depending on me for something, I am more likely to show up. I am working on viewing myself in the same way, the process. And part of that is just seeing kind of anything I do as, you know, we talk about treating the body as a temple, and being conscious of what I'm putting in. And I'm great with that, with my nutrition, intuitive nutrition, and knowing what I need when I need it. So why am I not doing that in my business or in my other habits of my life? But that, yeah, so accountability for me means community. And I'm going to drop one more link in the chat too, because I don't know if you've ever heard of Gretchen Rubin, but she is wonderful, and she's got a real simple quiz called the 4 Tendencies. And this is more, the reason I bring it up is because it's kind of how you interact within communities, are her 4 tendencies. And I love it. So yeah, accountability to me is just community for sure.
Awesome. And then Janisha, she found the raise hand option. You're all set to go. There you are.
Good evening. It is so good to see everybody. I miss your faces so much. Oh wow, I feel so awesome right now. But accountability, even to me, means even showing up for me when I don't feel like I deserve it. And I have allowed other people's opinions and accusing me of things that I wasn't guilty of, like being self-serving, et cetera, get to me, so much so that one of the coaches I have, she looked at my page and she said, "You promote everything else but yourself." And I was like, "Well, I don't want to seem selfish." And she said, "Well, if you don't tell people what you do, how will they know?" And I was like, I knew that. I was just, what had happened. So I'm gonna just stop. I had no excuse. I had no answer. I had no response. I felt like she punched me in my chest. And then when I collected myself and got myself together, I said, "You know what? There is nothing wrong with you promoting yourself. What you have has value. What you have can help others. What you have is good enough." And I know we haven't been at a training in forever, but I feel like I have a pocket Sarah in my mind, and she pops up every once in a while, reminding me of everything we've ever talked about. And so I've been going for it, and I am excited about what's coming up. Working on book fair, look for a movie in 2023. I know, right? Me write a movie. But I had the dream, so I'm gonna go for it, and I'm gonna just keep pushing. And in my pushing to be successful, my hope is to reach out and help other people, because I really like helping people. It makes me thrive. It just gives me energy and joy, and just to see someone else smile because of the very little thing. I love doing the little things, the things that people think don't matter. And to see them just thrive off of that or whatever. And being accountable and showing up for myself feels so good to me. And it really combats a lot of depression and anxiety and everything, because I kept my word to myself. So Being accountable is amazing. And I like the celebrations. And even there are times I have to say, okay, you know what? This didn't work because you didn't do what you were supposed to. I even enjoy those because it lets me know that I'm going to be honest with me regardless. So that's all I got right now.
Beautiful share. It's great to hear from you. I know it's been a while for some of us in our shared ambassador family circle for sure. So thank you for hopping on and for adding value to this. Hamza.
So, I mean, just to speak to the accountability part, I think one of my biggest relationships to that is owning my part. You know, recognizing what's going on around me, and then looking at, okay, if I didn't get what I expected, cool. Why is that? Like, what is it that's mine to own in that? Because of course, if I'm taking an active role in getting something in my life, then it means that something I did contributed to the outcome. And maybe that's a learning on my part. Maybe it's something that yeah, exactly, Brian. What is mine to own in the situation or outcome? Like what was my part, and moving forward, what is it that I need to do to shift that in order to get what I want? And so for me, that accountability really is, I mean, to put it bluntly, owning your shit, good, bad, and indifferent, because as much as I can take credit for really great things, I screw things up too. And, being in a place of middle management, being in a place of a business owner as well, you recognize, you get that kind of feeling in the pit of your stomach, like, that one's on me. Like I literally have nobody else to turn to. And just facing the reality that, yeah, you know what, I'm human. I just learned a lesson. Great. What resources do I need to correct this? And then how do I move forward from it?
Awesome. Very well put. Very relatable as well, I think, for everybody in our own journeys. Yeah, Melissa, you had your hand up.
For me, accountability aligns with responsibility. And I love taking responsibility because really all that means is empowering myself with the ability to respond. Good, bad, indifferent. And again, like those mistakes, they're just stepping stones and learning lessons, and not to beat yourself up on them, but to go, okay, I need to pivot. I need to shift. And Lord knows we've learned a lot about pivoting and shifting over the past year. We've become these really mastery of change in a lot of different ways, and to own that and to take responsibility for that and see the beauty of how we're maneuvering our lives and really the greater ability that we have. It just comes down to responsibility for me. And it's just accountability is a way to empower yourself to move towards that desire and towards that dream. Doesn't mean it's easy. Sounds simple. Doesn't mean I don't get caught up in it and don't make a lot of mistakes in the process, but at least there's a structure there, and not to get into that blame or victim mentality. And unfortunately, we're seeing a lot of people around us that are. And so that's kind of, one of my goals too, is to have that conversation. I love what Ganesha, am I saying that right?
Yeah, Janisha.
Okay. I love what she was saying about those little things, like those little holy encounters that you might have with a person that just changes their perspective the slightest bit to get them away from that victim mentality, send them back into responsibility so that they're ready for that accountable action. So.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, one of my before we move on to the next point here, to keep the ball rolling because we got good stuff, is one of my mentors, Allison Armstrong, says it's being account onable, like being willing to to take account on for, and the meaning actually for that I looked up on what Merriam-Webster is, it says an obligation or willingness to accept a responsibility or to take account for one's actions, right? So owning up from start to finish, and everything in between is like owning your piece of the pie. So next one, this is a big thing for me. This is the next point that he talked about, where he talked about like the Navy SEAL story, is being able to take care of each other and being willing to ask for help, but also being willing to provide help if it's asked of you, if you're in a space to do so. And I know for me, pride and ego was just like how I rode. And so I would never ask for help and until like the world literally burned down around me and I had no choice but to ask. And by then, sometimes it was too late, right? Because the damage is already done in some cases. And then I'm just like, well, you know, here we are. What do I do from here? So a couple of things with this is when you hit that point in the journey, right? Business owner, musician, artist, creators, all of the above, all the different hats that we wear on any given day for ourselves and for the people in our lives, is when obstacles do come up, like what's your trigger for asking for help? And when you ask for help, like how are you going about doing that? Because I know for me personally, I've learned some tools on how to better ask for help, which honors me, but also allows me to honor another person in the process of it. So I'm curious what that looks like for y'all. And then Martin had a good share, I think, relating to what Melissa of overcoming the victim mentality for the being accountable. Yeah, Martin, speaking of, there you go.
I don't ask for help. I usually break down and then I have to beg for help and so that really was something. It's something I'm definitely working on. And last night I cried and I had that. I cried with my partner and just keep moving forward with everything that comes my way. And that's been a very big issue of mine. And like he said, you never know who's waiting for you to ask. And I feel as though I have so many people waiting in my life. And I say and I want done. And so
So we lost you a little bit. We got the cat at the end, so this is like perfect. You're on it.
Crab like looked around. She's like, "What the?"
Yep. But Hamza, got it. But yeah, and I think that was a really good call out too. Is when you think about it, there's all kinds of people in this world, and it's just a matter we just haven't met all of them yet. But how many of them are out there wanting to give us that hand? But by us not asking, we're not allowing them to help, right? So we're kind of blocking our own blessings that are coming towards us. So that's always a great reminder for me because that ego still pops in from time to time. And it's like, I don't need help with this. I can do it. And then it's like, well, shit. So Chidi had his hand up first. And then we'll go to Rachel.
Yeah, mine will be pretty quick. I normally don't really ask for help unless I really need it. And I feel like the overall way I go about asking for help just implies that I've gotten to that point where it's just like it's gotten to this point. So no bullshit. Let's just be serious. Like, how can I solve this problem I'm having? And the most recent example I can give is like one of my friends and business partners. I let him know that I was struggling with my mental health, and I had an idea that it was because of the fact that it had been hard for me to do what I was talking on earlier and engaging in conversation with people and just sharing perspectives and understanding that it's I'm not alone in this whole journey towards whatever personal aspirations I have. We all have those. So my ability to ask, to first open, because for me, asking for help means opening up. So if I'm asking for help, it's a kind of a sign that, not only do I think that you could help me solve this, but I feel comfortable enough to even let you know that I'm struggling with something. So yeah, that ability to be fine with feeling vulnerable has something that I've really improved as a result of my 2-week streak on taking cold showers. So there's that. And then also just continuing to stay consistent with just saying what's on my mind, and not really caring how silly it sounds, or if my problem is an issue, or not an issue, but if my problem has an easy solution. Just understanding that it's a learning process, and we're all here in the same boat in that regard.
Absolutely, man. And I think that's a huge thing, especially for you think about culture, especially for men, is being vulnerable is can be seen as a huge weakness. And so we're then taught not to show that part of ourselves. So that's awesome that you're making those strides, as small as those might feel and as small as those might be right now, because they're going to lead to bigger and better things for you, brother. And then I believe we had Rachel up next. We got hands all over the place.
Yeah, mine is super quick. I loved what Martin shared, that then Brian, you highlighted, because I don't think I fully heard it when Martin said it. It was a great, because in the past I struggled to ask for help. It was like a pride thing. And I'm learning that balance between, there's healing and power in knowing I can do it myself and also allowing the help. And it's finding, not even balance, it's finding the harmony. That's the word I like to use instead of balance sometimes. So it's the harmony of, and where that comes in is the piece that Martin shared, that you highlighted, Brian, of, for some people, that's how they give. And that's it's like that whole love language concept. And who am I to rob someone of that opportunity? And so sometimes if I frame it that way, if I'm really struggling to accept help or ask for help, if I reframe it to, well, I'm giving them the gift by letting them help me, it can help me get over that hump and turns into a completely new and beautiful thing.
Absolutely. Yeah, I like that. The reframe is a great way to do it, because when I learned that from a mutual mentor of ours, who's Janisha mentioned, Sarah, and some others in here, that reframe is a big help with it. And I believe it was Anthony and then Hamza. So that's how we'll go.
Well, the cat's sitting on my notebook, but was this the one where it was about taking care of others?
Yep.
Where he's talking about being the best warriors are the ones who help, right? So this came up in our music business, surprisingly simple, because I've been asking Rachel to come into the studio and record music with me, because she hasn't in some time, and it's like time to do it now. It's time to tell the story. It's time to pass the medicine. It's time to do it, because So at first she was like, "Well, you do it without me," and I was like, "Okay." And then I did, and I have been, and then after that I was like, "All right, where you at?" And then she's like, and then it shifted, and then the real reason came out as why she hasn't come in. And it's like, because when she comes home, when she comes to the studio, like if it's noisy, if it's super messy right now. So if it's noisy, if it's messy, then it's not a clear space for her to think, and a clear space for her to just create and like write and like want to get into that. Because if there's like bits and bobs sitting all over that aren't in the place that they're supposed to be, then she's going to look at every single one of those things, and then it's going to be like, so, I figured out that in this business, and also in our personal relationship, because we do both, we're roommates, lovers, and business partners, is like one of the things that I can do to help others, to help her be successful, is to clean before she gets home. So that when she gets home, it feels really fresh, and it feels really spacious and really zen and really vibrant. And then it's like she can get home and we can go to the studio and we can just get right to work. And the microphone's already hooked up, so what I can do is like eliminate as many potential roadblocks as possible. And that's like and then I in turn like get what I want out of the situation, which is her recording with me. But like, in order to get what I want, I need to cater to what she wants and she needs, and then in the end, we both end up being happy.
Absolutely. It's like, help me, help you, help me kind of a thing. is kind of what it can turn into sometimes, but being able to have that conversation and just even recognizing that's big. We'll do Hamza and then we'll move on to the next point.
Rock on. Thanks for squeezing me in here. Yeah. In my past, and I know, a couple of you in the space have actually seen it. I would take the weight of the world on, and at times I did really well. And at times, yeah, I had an audience watching me just waiting to jump in. And it was literally just a matter of me saying, cool, this is what I need. And boom, like a light switch. I mean, the whole team just jumps too. And, for me, that it was actually a huge blow at the time that I failed to recognize how much help I actually needed. And, for me, that was a bigger blow than just the ask. Because at the end of the day, I mean, I was attempting to do what takes 2, 3, 4 people to do. So yeah, I mean, no wonder it wasn't going to work well for me. And so, I mean, prior to that moment, I was used to just doing, and making up whatever stories about why I was the only one that could do it. And then that was the breaking point. And after that, it's been a completely different experience where my reframe to that is collaboration. Because for me, that becomes a very creative process. And it's a way that, I can start to see more perspective, more sides to what I might be missing, because my way isn't the only way. And while I might think I need X, Y, and Z, somebody else can look at it and go, yo, man, you missed O, P, Q, R, and S. Let's figure that out first. And so, having that insight and that recognition has dramatically shifted just my experience of life, period. And people ask why it is that I'm able to take on so much stuff. And it's because I know where my resources are, and I know who I need to tap into now. And it's because, I've been willing to ask for that help. And even recently, up against a huge timeline, and most of what I need is outside of my own control. And so it started with, phone call and email to a really close part of my tribe saying, look, guys, here's where I'm at. This is what I need. Are you able to fill into this spot, or do you know somebody that can? And they've been rising up like crazy. And I'm twice as far on that project than I thought I would be by this time. So it's just the power of the ask.
Absolutely. So just a friendly reminder, I know these are slated for right about an hour. Chances are we might go over by a couple of minutes. So if you all have to hop off to take care of whatever else you have going on, feel free. We still love you guys 100%. And then Janisha, we'll circle back to you after we get to the next point in case you still have that share handy. Or if you just want to drop it in chat, that'd be another great thing where we can get it that way. But speaking of moving onwards and upwards, so this last one was kind of interesting because when I was listening to it, it kind of just left me thinking. I didn't know really what to make of it. Of when you're holding like a position of influence or authority or title or significance, is, if you know the 6 Human Needs from Tony Robbins, right? For a lot of people, having that completely changes how people interact with you, and in some cases can change how you interact with other people depending on how you handle it, right? Being humble versus being, I don't know, I can't think of the other word right now, but you guys get where I'm going with it. So the question I have with that is, when you have that position and you want to label it as whatever, like life coach, business, owner, musician, what have you, is like kind of how do you handle that if you have like a specific way to maybe just remain grounded in it, but if you notice like what changes around you or what changes with how you show up when you're in that position, maybe is the better question to ask. Like, do you show up differently in this environment versus this environment? Like for events, some people have their event persona and then they have the party persona that's outside of the event. So, right, yeah, switch back. So, yeah, so if anybody wants to chime in or jump on that, it's kind of a loaded one. let's go, Melissa. Let's do it.
So it's kind of interesting as you get older. I might be the oldest one in this group, but as I approach the golden age of 50 this year, you realize that those faces and those roles and those personas fall away and you get closer to one, or at least that's been my experience. As I age, more of that bullshit, more of those, like I don't have time for it. I don't have capacity for it. I don't enjoy it. It's not fun. So just to really get to the essence of being that one and holy person, oh my God, it's liberating. When people talk about freedom, the free to be me, I think I sent Rachel a song one day that I just started chanting as I was walking down the street, free to be me, free to be me. Like, what does that look like? And I was just like, and I'm like, oh my God, that feels so good in my body. And, I get paid to be me. I show up as me. I love as me versus, and I'm on my third marriage. So I've obviously played some roles in my life, mom, grandmother, nurturer, inspiring partner. We kind of covered a few of those things, but just the essence of that person is the same person. So who I am with you in this moment is who I am with my husband, my girlfriends, my kids. It's fantastic. And if you can get there, I think it's wonderful.
Absolutely. Yes. Just being free to be yourself, free of all the labels and the whatnots that can sometimes put you in that box. Janisha, you still got the hand up, girl. Let's hear from you if you have a share. Unmute, yeah. Technology, we're getting there. Janisha is in our list. Oh.
Hello, did you call me yet?
Yeah, go for it. Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I was trying to unmute you.
I was
You're
just
good.
saying that as far as asking for help, it is where I struggle at this moment. In the past, I have been kind of bullied when I asked for help or made fun of. So it shut me down to where I no longer ask for help. I either did without or I did what I could to make it happen. But the last thing I would do is ask for help. So I am venturing out asking for help even as we speak. It is not comfortable, but I'm doing it anyway and hoping for good results and just pushing through what doesn't feel good. One of my mentors had a live yesterday, and she said nothing successful comes from a comfortable place. And that kind of shoved me into a position where I said, I'm either going to do it or I'm going to let fear keep me in a place where, no frozen.
You're good. We still got you.
Okay, I got stuck a little bit. So I'm just deciding to push through and ask for help, and prayerfully it will work out. But if not, then I have the comfort of knowing I took accountability for myself and asked.
That's beautiful. I like that. You at least took the action, you took the step to help yourself in the process. So that's great. Chidi, we got your hand up, brother. Go for it.
Hey, thanks. So to answer your last question, I over the past year or so, I've been really trying to break down what it means to be Chidi Okolo. And I've gotten to a point where the overall way I perceive my own experience is very much so through the eyes of other people already. So when it came to all the labels that were being placed on me, I automatically felt like anything I do or say had to be aligned with how people would expect to be interacting with Chidi as such, whether that's Chidi as a musician or a student or uncle, as opposed to me just being whoever I felt like I wanted to be in that moment. So and not to make this a topic about astrology, but I've also been told I have Gemini in my chart, which contributes to like having multiple different types of ways of looking at the world, maybe, or personalities, whatever the case may be. But I really have recently been trying just to focus on not relying so much on how other people might perceive me, and just relying on how I feel and letting that be what guides my actions and moment. So really trying to be aware of that, and so much so to the point where like I can just forget it, that I'm needing to be aware, and just let it be like a habitual thing. So yeah, that's my spiel on that.
Yeah, well said. Just recognizing that just being you, like kind of like what Melissa has discovered as time goes on and through all of her experiences, when you just show up as you, and that's all you have to do, that's all you have to be, is just you, then the rest will literally just take care of itself. The right people will come to you. The right people will, sometimes they'll have to leave, but it's meant to be, because they're not there yet with who you really are. Awesome. Yeah, and I like what Anthony said, do or do not, there is no try. So you're doing the work. So that's the best part. You have started the adventure.
Yep, it's exciting. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for sharing, man. Rachel.
Yeah, I know we're close on time or at time, but I'm glad we're going a little over. I guess kind of similar to Melissa, and perhaps I'm grateful to have discovered this at an earlier age, of there's not a whole lot that I do differently. That's not to say I am 100% perfect at always being authentically me, but I feel a lot, and I have a really, really good memory. So I can pinpoint moments when I was trying to be not me and was trying to be something else. Not in any sort of super negative way, but just in exploring. Like I can remember times in 7th grade, I cried almost like every day of 7th grade. And that was because I was trying to be things that I wasn't, and trying to dress in ways that weren't me, and that's something small. But then I can pinpoint, even in my journey as a musician and being on stage, moments in sharing our art, because again, I'm working on getting away from the word of performing, because I'm just playing. That's all I want to do the rest of my life, is just play. So, but moments of sharing and expressing our art where I was uncomfortable on stage because I was attempting to portray some image of a quote performer or a quote singer, or that wasn't just me. And then thankfully I can also really feel it in my body when I am me. And I've had the I guess benefit or desire to just not, I've never had a typical 9 to 5. I've never had a consistent paycheck. That's just been by choice. I've picked seasonal jobs like ski instructors and summer art camp businesses. And that has allowed me that freedom of not being tied to something that doesn't truly resonate with me, because I'm ever changing and ever evolving. So yeah, I guess what you see is definitely what you get with
the awkwardness,
my microphone keeps switching. Okay. Awkwardness, the fun, the emotional being that I am, you see it all. Thankfully, I do keep my dragon at bay, and only those that really know me see that part of my authentic self. I am more than comfortable talking about that part of me, but not everyone needs to see that side of me displayed. You can't hear me? No? Okay. Well,
put your ears back in.
Yeah, you took the earbuds out.
Back and forth.
We can hear you more clearly now.
Okay, that was weird. My computer kept saying that the microphone was switching back and forth, so I took them out. But yes, what you see is what you get, aside from the emotions that I am comfortable talking about with everyone, but I know don't necessarily need to be seen by everyone, if that makes sense.
I think what's really cool is just kind of seeing a common thread through what everybody shared so far, is a lot of people, and it's very much a cultural thing, I think, with society nowadays, is a lot of people like that significance factor, like the title factor of like influencer or the whatever you have it, like that's what they're going after. And it's just like you're potentially missing out on so many other just amazing things by just being you and allowing the rest to come to you because of who you are and who you're being in any given moment. So I know we're a bit over. I appreciate you all sharing and talking through this. I think it's it's cool to see kind of like the spread, especially because we got different age groups, different backgrounds, and just all kinds of walks of life in here that's just contributing and is sharing. So it's been amazing. So from here, as we close out with this, friendly reminder, this is the last Wednesday of every month. So look forward to the next one. I'm already got some ideas for the next video, the next topic. So keep your eyes open and ears to the ground. We'll let you know. And then on Sunday, we have our mindful manifesting scripting class that we do at 8 p.m. Eastern as well, which is led by the one and only Anthony and Carissa, who snuck in kind of a little bit through the call, but they do a great job with that. And it's just another technology, another tool that you can, if you're not already doing it, that you can tap into that helps just to bring more abundance into your life if that's what you're looking for. And then there's some other odds and ends that we'll speak about in that class that are also offered throughout the week. But do we have any closing remarks, any final shares before we get you all back to your Sunday evenings?
Let's take a picture.
Yes.
If you're on the call and you feel comfortable, turn your video on. We would love you to turn your video on so we can get a little screen grab.
Yeah.
That was off there, Hamza.
Yeah. That's Hamza.
Say my hair is not done, so
It's okay.
Neither's mine.
Let it fly.
Yeah.
Let it fly.
yeah.
Whip your hair back and forth.
Oh, there's Carissa. She's driving.
There's Carissa.
There she is.
Okay,
I'm
everybody
unmuted.
smile.
I've been muted.
Big smile.
Oh wait, where's my camera? Okay.
There it is.
I help.
Oh, wait, we're almost there. There she is.
Nice.
You look great. What are you talking
Yeah,
about?
what are you talking about?
Yeah.
Hey,
I'm learning
own
how
it.
to work my hair or
It is
style
all
it,
good.
whatever it is you do to it.
Awesome.
Until I can get back to a beautician who is skilled. I miss her.
Thank you, guys. I got a little screen grab there. Rachel just dropped in the comments all the different things we have going on with Vibe Hive. Big shout out to Brian this week for picking the video and leading the conversation. Thank you, Brian.
It was an honor. I
Very
appreciate
nice,
the
very
opportunity.
beautiful. Thank you to Janisha and Chidi and Martin and everyone, Melissa, everyone, all of you first-time tuner-inners to Vibe Hive, thank you for tuning in. To all of you Vibe Hive family who's been here for like everything and who continues to show up, thank you. And yeah, I think that's about it for tonight. Any other comments, concerns?
I do have a question, and if I'm asking the wrong question, I apologize. But this is me going into that that uncomfortable zone thingy again.
Mm-hmm.
And is it okay to mention the book fair that I have coming up, or no?
Sure, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I have a book fair coming up from February to 1st to the 28th. My goal is to sell 100 books a day. Working on revamping, rebuilding, recreating, making me look like the best me that I am, so that I'm not half doing it anymore or hiding behind the fear of what if they don't like me and all that stuff. So if you guys want, and you can see it on my page, on my author page, it's my name, author Janisha Morton. The Zoom link is there. It's going to be a Facebook Live because I'm coming from StreamYard. So with StreamYard, apparently you can go live everywhere at one time. And bring people. And most of the books are between $5 and $6, so they're not expensive. And if not, then that's cool. But
And you said you dropped a link for this in the chat already?
no, I can.
Yeah, go ahead and drop that in there so that way everybody can kind of snag it. And And that way, those who can support and can jump on that, we can help you out with it.
What is that you just dropped, Hamza?
That's actually her book fair. Hamza's already doing the thing. Look at that. See?
Oh,
Asking you
okay.
shall
I love you,
receive.
Hamza. You're my favorite.
Oh, is he? No.
Well, he's my
Yeah.
favorite Hamza in the whole world. He's
There
the
you
only one I
go.
know, but
Good save. Good save. I appreciate it.
everybody here is my favorite. I will never meet another one of you ever. So I told my kids that all the time, and they're like, "You can only have one." I said, "No, I do. You're the only Isaiah I will ever love because you're the only Isaiah I will ever have. I won't have another one. So you're my favorite." And then
Perfect.
same with Cameron and Caleb. So everybody is my favorite.
Yeah. Well, thank you for
Thank
stepping
you
out
so
of the
much.
comfort zone and for asking and for sharing. For Hamza with the assist, and then Rachel dropped the link for Chidi's app, his network, his Inspire. So if you all are open to checking those out, feel free. And then I think from here, we're going to officially call it for the evening. And thank you again for taking some time out of your Sunday and for hopping on with all of us.
Love you guys. Thank you.
Love
Take care.
y'all.
Be great.
Bye.
Thanks, everyone. This is awesome.
Buenas noches.
Thank you.
Later. Bye.
Let's see.